Yeah, what's up?
Why is it even dark?
I'm recording
What?
my computer.
Why?
Hey, what's up everyone, Danny here, and in this video I'm going to show you my updated rig for 2019. This is a video that I do once every couple of years for those out there wondering what I use in my own personal system, and I only do it when it's seen pretty drastic changes as opposed to doing it like every time I swap out only one or two parts. I'll go over the prices I paid for the components as I always do, and this time around I'm actually fortunate enough to be using parts that were sent over to me by a few companies. So for those I'll use some reference market values so that we can kind of tally up a representative grand total for the build at the end. But yeah, let's check it out. Okay, so to quickly recap, this is a system that I was coming from, and I used it for about 2 years. I'll post the specs on the screen really fast for you to see, and I'll leave a link in case anyone wants to watch the full breakdown of that. But that rig came in right around the $1,000 mark, and that's about as expensive of a personal PC that I'd ever really want for myself. I'll do more expensive builds for friends or family if that's what they want, since they're the ones paying for it. But for me, with deal hunting for sales and used parts, I think $1,000 is like my own personal sweet spot. So this build is centered around the Intel i7-8700K. My last couple of personal builds have used Intel processors because I know people who can help me get them at employee pricing, which is effectively half off. Otherwise, I'd hands down go with like a Ryzen 7 since they're so dirt cheap. And they offer really great value for how much they cost. These are getting like as low as $130 brand new on a good sale. But because I have access to such a big discount on the Intel side, I go with them. I always sell off my old parts when I upgrade, and the more I can get back to fund my next build, the better. And with my past Intel chips, I've always been able to recoup the full amount even after 2 years of use. So for everyone out there asking me why I didn't buy Ryzen, because there were a lot of people that seemed a bit upset at me for going Intel, this only cost me $180. And that's really hard to pass up considering they're going for like $350 or more as of making this video. I'm pairing the 8700K with the MSI Z370M mortar motherboard. Honestly, I don't need it to be the best absolute overclocker and to be packed with a bunch of extra features. I just want decent overclocking capabilities and I'm pretty much good to go. Baseline Z370 is already pretty good and I don't need a lot of the extra bells and whistles, nor do I want to pay the premium for them. I grabbed this one brand new on eBay using a coupon code and it came out to 105 bucks. One thing I dislike about Intel motherboards though is that you kind of have to go with their highest chipset to overclock, whereas the AMD boards that cost like half the price can overclock quite well. But again, these Intel motherboards usually retain their value, like if you look to the past at like the Z77, 87, or Z97 for example, those motherboards still fetch for quite a bit a few years later. So I'm hoping this one does the same. The CPU cooler I'm using is actually a temporary one until I decide on what I want to end up with. I'm using the good old Clarv M9, one that I had on hand from way back when I used to hoard these coolers because of how cheap they were at $20 on Newegg. I love this cooler on all fronts, you know, the price, the performance, and the aesthetics. I was previously using a 240mm AIO cooler, but I've been wanting to go back to an air cooler for a long time now because there's just less things to worry about in terms of failure points. You know, you don't have to worry about leaks, don't have to worry about the pump failing. All you have to worry about is if the fan stops spinning, and this cooler is definitely underwhelming compared to the rest of the build, but it works well as a temporary one while I keep my eyes out for a much beefier, thicker, high-performance air cooler. For RAM, I'm using 16GB of 3GHz TForce Delta RGB. Team Group was kind enough to send this over to be featured in this build, so huge shout out to them for helping out with that. You can find these for about $80 on Build a PC sales pretty frequently. We're pretty much back to an all-time low for RAM prices right now, with prices close to what we saw back in 2016, except with the frequencies a lot higher than what we were seeing back then for the same price, and now you can get RGB for not too much more than their non-RGB counterparts. These are compatible with most control software from the major motherboard manufacturers, and I use it to run whatever solid color of my choice. Right now I'm going with green. I'm not really a fan of the constant flowing rainbow look from RGB hardware, but I really do appreciate the flexibility of being able to change whole solid color schemes on the fly. The graphics card isn't going to be upgraded from my last build. I'm going to be carrying over my EVGA GTX 1070 for the Win Edition because it still has plenty of capabilities for my needs. This is still one of my most memorable used hardware pickups ever, which I documented in a Craigslist ride-along. I got this for $200 and it was completely by a stroke of luck, being in the right place at the right time, and the rest of the details of that pickup were captured in that video. Unless I come across another super good deal on an upgrade, I'm probably going to be using it for a bit longer. For power, I'm using the Seasonic Focus Plus 850 watt fully modular power supply. This was sent to me by Seasonic when they were first released to help promote it, and I've been saving it for a build that was fitting of its price tag. These go for around $80 with sales or mail-in rebates, which is kind of pricey, but for that price, you're getting a very high quality power supply. This is practically recommended from any in-depth reviewer that covers professional level testing. It's fully modular, it has a gold efficiency rating, and it uses really high quality components. And it carries a whopping 10-year warranty. But at this price point, it's definitely not something that you're going to just throw into any low-cost budget rig. Like, it doesn't make sense to put $80 power supply into like a $300 or $400 system. But once you start getting into systems that creep into like the $1,000 price point, then my opinion is that a high-quality power supply like this is very justifiable. Next, let's talk about storage. This is typically something that moves along from build to build whenever people upgrade, basically until the drives start showing signs of failure or is cheap enough to flat out replace with either larger capacities or a better technology. But we're not at the point yet where I can replace my multiple terabytes of mechanical drives with solid state drives yet, at a reasonable cost anyways. So they're going to be migrating over from the old build to the new build. I moved over 2 of my large storage drives, each are 3 terabyte 7200 RPM drives, and I bought both of these used for $55 and $58 from Hardware Swap years ago. For my boot drive, I'm actually using my first ever NVMe SSD. I bought an ADATA SX8200 480GB drive, brand new. This is one of the most popular NVMe drives on Build a PC sales, with performance that can contend with the much more expensive Samsung Evo NVMe's, but these come in at a lower price tag. I spent $80 on this from Rakuten with a coupon code, but the price is still slowly dropping. I've seen these dip below like $70 after I bought mine. Along with the NVMe SSD, I also have an older 2.5-inch Crucial 500GB SATA SSD, which didn't cost me anything because I actually got it in a build near the beginning of the channel that I bought on Craigslist. After that pickup, I eventually sold off all the parts and made back more than what the build cost, all while keeping the SSD. Housing all these parts is the Cooler Master Q300L with handles. Yes, all these parts are going to be going into what is considered a budget case with add-on handles that Cooler Master still has yet to offer in their store even after they promised it. But when it comes to cases, I am a sucker for handles and smaller form factor. I always have been, and I will likely always will be, and despite some of the flaws of this case, like the acrylic side panel and the limited airflow due to the hole size and density on the front and top, I really like the uniqueness of the case. You know, there's no confusing what it is the second you see it. I'm sure after Gamers Nexus made their video about the Q500L, the larger variant of this, Cooler Master will improve their ventilation design moving forward like they have with other cases in the past. So I'm really curious to see what comes of that. My experience with this case has been pretty good. It runs on the warmer side when there's like a heavy load on both the CPU and GPU, but even then I haven't experienced throttling, just higher temperatures. The Q300L has an MSRP of $40, and the 4 handles on there are worth around $20, which I'm basing on how much they cost over on the European website, and a pack of the 3 Masterfan Pro RGB fans run for around $30. And if you're wondering how I fit a second 3.5-inch mechanical drive in there, since this case only officially has room for one behind the motherboard tray, I was able to hide one up top in the main chamber using the top panel open hole pattern. For the operating system, I have a legitimate retail copy of Windows 10 Pro, and that's carrying over from the last build, and that originally cost me $33. My buddy was working at Microsoft at the time that I bought it, and he gave me an invite code for their friends and family program, so I was able to get it at a steep discount since they usually retail for around double or triple that amount. The one benefit to having a full legitimate retail version though, like this, is that it's not tied to any hardware, so whenever I move it around to different builds or whatever, you know, it doesn't have any activation issues, so that's kind of nice. So now let's look at the build summary, price breakdown, and grand total, which slides in just under $1,000. If we further break this down, I paid for around $730 worth of that, and Team Group, Seasonic, and Cooler Master provided roughly $250 worth of components. So with all the specs out of the way, let's take a look at how this build performs. For overclocking, I'm running the 8700K at 4.8 GHz on all cores. For the GTX 1070, the core is running at 2050 MHz at boost, and the memory is at 4200 MHz. And for all the benchmarks that are gaming related, I actually ran at a resolution of 2560 by 1080p, which is ultra wide because that's what I personally game at. But yeah, let's check out the benchmarks. So there you have it, that's my PC. It's not the biggest, baddest, most expensive build out there by any means. You've likely seen all over YouTube that there are plenty of other people that have poured way more money, like 2 to 3 times that amount, into their high-end builds. But you know what, this one works well for me, both performance and price-wise. To me, this is my high-end. But what do you guys think of the build? If I decided to, for whatever reason, completely leave the PC Master Race tomorrow to go over to console for whatever reason, and I listed this exact build for $1,000, would you want to buy it? Let me know down in the comments below, as well as any other thoughts you might have about it. And I want to give a huge thanks to Team Group, Seasonic, and Cooler Master for helping out with the case, power supply, and RAM. I'm truly grateful to be able to work with companies like these. These are companies I hold in really high regard. You know, they're companies that I've bought products from well before when they ever got in contact with me. So it's a dream come true to be able to actually have them reach out and help with this. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed the video. Thanks as always for watching and supporting the channel. I really do appreciate it. And yeah, I will see you all in the comments down below as well as in the next video. Bye.